Real Talk Live with Rodney Grimes. People to people, power to power, positive thinking people. Yes, with Sir Rod and Lady Z. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's about we. And God we trust. Positive thinking people. Positive thinking people. Positive thinking people. Every Monday night, every Wednesday night, every Friday night, every Monday night, every Wednesday night, every Friday night, every Monday night, every Wednesday night.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome. It's People to People with Rodney Grimes. Let me tell you something. I always say when things start to do a flip or whatever, I always think that the devil is really looking at me and saying, dude, you doing your thing. And you trying to throw some havoc in there. But anyway, I am so excited to be here today. And we are excited to have this young lady in here on this platform. For everybody just tuning in, y'all know it's Motivation Monday. And I would like to introduce Miss Delass. Right?
Delass.
Delass.
That was real close, though.
That was close, wasn't it?
Yeah, that
Miss
was
Delass
close.
is in the house. So how you doing today?
I'm good.
Okay, first of all, as when we go into different places and do different things, there's always sometimes things that happen and throw you off. But I'm the type of person, I don't never be defeated.
Right.
So I just keep on going.
Same.
So they don't know what we're talking about, but you know,
Yeah,
but
same,
it's all good, right? So for everybody just tuning in, hey, Lady Z, can you do me a favor and just make sure that is turned all the way up so that they can hear me really well? Just make sure it's turned all the way up with the volume because they'll be able to hear everything that's going on. Okay, so thank you so much. So again, I'm going to say the name one more time.
You gonna get it right. Go on. I'm not gonna give it to you.
Delass.
Delass.
Delass. Oh, I got it.
Delass.
Delass. I got it now.
Yes.
It was the tongue tied. I was tongue tied. Delass.
Yes.
So how you doing?
I'm good.
First of all, I am so excited that you're here. It's Women's History Month.
Right.
Okay. And with that being so, I've been interested in talking to different females, some of your partners in crime, right? Both the young ladies prior to you, before you, are phenomenal individuals. And I'm sure that it's almost like a build-up, because each one of y'all, it keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm talking about with that energy. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
All right. I am a youth pastor. I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am a poet and author, speaker. Did I mention I was a mother? All right, so my kids, I have Zion, he's 16, he'll be 17 in like 2 weeks. I have Journey, she's 9, she's my superstar. And I have a 3-year-old, Zara. Zara is, woo. I mean, yeah, I don't really have words for her. She's woo. Thank you, Jesus.
How about that? So you're a pastor.
I am.
So how long have you been in
in ministry?
Yes.
I don't even know how to put a number to that. Like, we grew up in church. Literally from the time, from the time I was able to walk, we were in a church, and I mean, my dad drove the church bus, so we were up at 6 a.m. with him, riding around to pick everyone up. And so ministry was something that was like a really intricate part of life for us. It was something that you kind of really didn't have a choice. Not kind of. You had no choice. And we were in church for first service, second service, the evening service, and then we went on and continued in ministry. But the youth ministry was something that I did as a teenager, and then getting active in the youth ministry as I got a little older, young adult, and I accredit that to my parents, and then to just having great youth leaders. And my past at the time was phenomenal. Just in connecting us with the right people. And so I started as a youth leader and a youth director at my home church, and then I moved on from that to becoming a director of worship and a minister of worship and creative minister, and then from that I transitioned back into youth ministry. And so currently I serve as a youth minister at a Presbyterian church in York, PA, which is quite different from what I'm used to. But I believe that, it all ties in together for, just a greater purpose.
That is amazing. I grew up in going into the church and stuff. I thought at one time I was going to be a pastor. One more thing that I want to make sure, can we get some power to that? Because I don't want it to run out on me, okay? Again, because I grew up in the church, I always know that there's good and bad. There's God, who's Jah, and then there's the devil, and it's up and down. So when I do things, sometimes you'll start seeing the dark side of something, but then I lean on what I believe is the Holy Spirit.
Right.
And I don't let that taunt me or break me down. I just keep moving forward. Understanding that you also, as you said, you're a mother, you're also a poet. How did you get into the poetry?
Oh, wow. Let's see, there was this, it's fun. There was this gentleman who stalked my social media. I mean, gently, not anything too ridiculous. And he was a poet, and kept inviting me to his poetry events. And before then, I hadn't poetry wasn't something that I really knew much about. And I had gone through quite an ordeal in a domestically abusive relationship, and so just kind of steering clear of everyone and everything. And so I decided to give it a try. This is about, I want to say maybe about 8 years ago. Decided to give it a try to see what it was about, and I showed up for the event, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this right here, this is powerful, this is freeing, I want to be able to experience that. And I remember leaving that event, going home, and feeling so empowered. And then I continued to go to different poetry events. And then I decided I want to write. I write all the time. I'm always writing short stories, but it's no, I want to write. I want to write poetry. I want to write and speak in a a poetic voice. I know that there's that I have that, and so let me see what it sounds like. And so I shared that with him, and he's like, yeah, but you gotta have the voice to be a poet. I don't know if you're gonna be able to do that, D. And I'm like, no, I think I can do it. And so the next event he had, I'm like, put me on. And he's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. So I got on stage and I performed, and afterwards, I was super surprised because I'm like, I memorized, I performed 2 pieces, I memorized them, I was able to share, and afterwards there was a lady there from the radio station, and she's like, I have a show coming up, and the poems that I shared were on domestic violence, and it just so happened that the show that she was hitting towards was towards domestic violence awareness, and she's like, I would love for you to share. This is the first time I'm performing, and then to be asked to this event, and then following that, there were 2 other women who approached me on the same tip, and I'm like, oh man, this is something that's not just freeing for myself, this was something that's powerful and freeing for other women. And then later, as I, continued to share, I realized it wasn't just women that I was reaching, all kinds of people. And it was literally just through me sharing, words that hit my heart, that, hit my spirit, and just how it came out.
That's powerful. Actually, I'm a poet by nature. I write. I've been writing poetry for a very long time. Um, I'm not gonna put myself out there because this is about you today. But whenever I speak to another poet or a rapper, I always get in my feelings because I know that that's what I'm able to do is release my feelings through words.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand how powerful that is to be able to relay a message and not have it be like, sometimes you can do a poem and really it could be one word, you know, or it could be 10 words, or it could be a little short story, but it's of a person and what's going on inside and how
Right.
they share it. And you said you have 3 children.
Yep.
Okay. And you do not look old enough to have no child 16 years
What?
old.
Yeah, that's my baby. Zion. He's special. He's a real special kid. I always say that. I don't even really know what to say. I get warm just thinking about him. He's like never giving me any troubles, any issues. You know how, you talk to some mothers and they're talking to you about their sons and they're like, he's a knucklehead or he doesn't listen. Like, nah, that was never the case with Zion. Good student, good kid, good son, respectful, wise beyond his years. So yeah, I'm grateful for him. But yeah, I'm old enough to have him.
Mm-hmm. So it being that it's the month celebrating women,
Mm-hmm.
how does that make you feel that, for the struggle that women have gone through to be where you are today? And a lot of times I don't really like to bring this out, but women struggled, but it's amazing what the black woman had to deal with.
Right.
And how far you come.
The
Tell me a little bit.
perseverance.
Yeah.
I can't really speak for all women, but I could speak to my story, and I could say women struggle. Not necessarily struggled as past tense, but definitely
Come
still.
on.
We
Yeah.
struggle every single day.
Yes.
And that for some women that is that's in their home. For some women that is in the workplace. For many of us that is in the workplace. For some women, that is within their family unit. Within the legal system. I mean, just as, as a mother, as a daughter, I think about, just like some of the stories my mom has shared with me and some of the things she's overcome, and then looking at my children and some of the things that they witnessed with me, or some of the things that I've discussed and shared with them. I think women's struggles and perseverance and their triumph. I think women are amazing creatures. I had in the workplace, I had this experience where someone said to me, and I don't take it lightly because I feel like it struck a nerve, but I don't hold it against that individual. Nevertheless, it's not something that I've forgotten. But someone said to me, like my whole idea, my whole perspective of struggle is different. It is almost as if, I speak about struggle with joy. And I'm like, why wouldn't I? The Bible tells us to, count it all joy. James 1 and 2, like when you're faced with various trials and struggles, why wouldn't I count, my struggles and my troubles as joy? Because I recognize that in the midst of my struggles, in the midst of my troubles, there's something that God is teaching me in the midst of it. And if I get caught up in the struggles itself, I'll miss out on the bigger picture, on what it is God is actually sharing and providing in that moment. Mm-hmm. And then it later came down to, well, what it is that I think that, and this individual was, one of my non-melanated friends. They said to me, I think what it is that African American women have a different theological perspective of struggle. And I'm like, if we really want to get into this conversation, that conversation goes deep. Why wouldn't we have a different theological perspective of struggle and what it means to struggle? We struggled for voting rights. We struggled for equal pay, and we still do. We struggle for equality. We struggle to be respected. amongst our peers, within the culture, within, you know, the music culture, social media, the media. Like, women have struggled for years. I mean, since the beginning of time.
Yes, yeah. That's what I find to be so profound when I'm in the midst of strong women and realize that the struggle that was then, really for real, it still is now.
Absolutely.
And it's at a level where it's probably camouflaged.
It is. It's masked.
Yeah.
And it's funny you say a strong woman. I remember several years ago, I went to a friend and I was, you know, I had a moment where I felt like I was at my breaking point, and I was sharing with them because, you know, when it comes to your children as a mother, like, you know, you have soft spots all day long. And I was going through something with my child, and I explained that, and I was expressing that, and they were like, "Come on, you're supposed to be a strong woman. What you doing crying?" Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "What? I'm not strong. Well, I'm less that of a woman because I come to you and I'm crying, or because I'm sharing an emotion." Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like we discount and we discredit women regularly because, oh, she's way too emotional. Oh, she's emotional. No, we're all emotional creatures. Emotion is nothing but energy in motion. Like, we're all emotional. But because I choose to express it as opposed to hiding it and masking it, that doesn't make me less than.
Right.
You know, that actually empowers, and it shows my strength.
Yes.
That that there isn't fear to express, even though I am a strong woman.
Yes, I love that. Even me as a man, many times I show my emotions, and a lot of times, growing up, you would hear a man not supposed to cry.
Oh man.
Yeah, but you know, we find ourselves when you don't cry, that's when you're dying. You literally are dying because you're not living, and so for many women who have spoken out and carried it, and I'm going to applaud all the women that I think that the position y'all hold is what make us become the better me, the better we, and I'm talking the male species.
Right.
Because for so many years, again, I don't really like to make it about a racial thing or whatever, but I'm talking that from a black man's perspective. We've struggled in so many areas, and the black woman, in the history of a woman, has done some amazing things, taking us to platforms where they was really holding down the fort for a minute because so many males were going to jail.
Right.
And the woman was standing up and came from out of the kitchen into the workforce, paying the bills, raising the children, establishing businesses.
Yeah. And
now we look at the women today, sometimes I talk to other males, I say we gotta catch up. Really. I mean, I look at especially the individuals I know who you network with, right? Y'all a powerful source. And I like that. It makes me proud, you know, to know that we have women of your caliber that are really holding it down. What's that sitting there in front of you?
Oh man, this is a book. It's old. I had to blow the dust off of it. The pages allure, rugged. It's a book I wrote 7 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. But I looked at it today and I'm like, wow, copywritten 2015. That's crazy. But yeah, it's a book.
So what is it? What is it about?
It's a book of poems. It's
okay.
And it was, you know, my first poetry book. I written it like I want to say maybe a year and a half or two after I started doing poetry. And for me, it was a major thing. So I titled it, you know, just retrospect, like looking back on what I've overcome, you know, what I've gone through, and where I am now, and the Chrysalis Project. You know, you think about the butterfly and the whole chrysalis process, and I thought about how, you know, I kind of like cocooned myself. I kind of put myself in a space where, you know, I needed to get ugly. You know what I'm saying? So that I could grow, and so that, you know, I could shed off all of that dead weight that I was walking around with, and so that I could blossom to be this beautiful woman, to be this beautiful mother, to be this beautiful person.
Yeah.
So that's what this is.
Actually, I can't wait. I've been doing this myself, writing. I journal,
Okay.
and so but I also have several books of poetry that I just was documenting my poetry in it, and I can't wait to do that. So, could you be able to recite something for me, or would you have to read it, or would you be able to freelance?
So this is a crazy thing. When we booked this and I'm talking with my poet sisters, and I'm like, man, it's crazy. I've not been on a stage to perform in 5 years. And so when my poet sister reached out to me earlier this year, she had a feature, and she's like, I need you there. And I'm like, all right, bet. Yeah, I'll be able to spit something. And I'm telling you, I'm going through like my memory, like, oh man, what am I going to share? Or is it going to be something new? And then just trying to go take the time to actually like memorize something. And I'm like, you know what? I've never shared a poem and had to like read it. But it's okay if I have to look back at my work to read it. But because that was how, that was just the mindset that I had when I would share poetry. It's like, nah, you need to be able to just share it. And if you don't just share it, like it takes away from the beauty of it. And I'm like, nah, well, it really doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It really doesn't.
No.
So
but with me, like, I'll tell a person, give me a word, and you can give me a word, and I will be able to recite something because it comes from within.
okay.
So I've managed several music artists in the past, and a lot of them were rappers. And one of the things that I had to get them to understand is this: don't tell me that you're a rapper when I tell you to freelance, because if you're a rapper, then really you're a poet, and all you got to do is just come from
Let
within.
it come from within, right?
And so not all the time is it that easy though. For some people, like, I never can remember anything that I write.
Okay.
I can't. I watched the other two young ladies. They was reciting. If they remembered everything they said, more power to them.
Like it's kind of like expected in the poetry world. Like it's kind of like you're not gonna read from your phone. You're not gonna read from your book. But I have mad respect for poets who feel as though they don't have to live to those standards. Like, nah, if you need to read from your book, read from your book. If you need to, read from your phone, read from your phone.
And I think that that's with anyone. I mean, we don't know what level of your stress or your level of thinking that day on some things. And anyway, they don't know whether you remember this.
Mess it up or not.
Right,
I learned that early too.
So when you read it, they know that that's it. Let me hear something.
Actually, it's crazy because I had thought about something I wanted to share. And it's been on my mind for the last several days, but I haven't shared it in at least 5 days.
Okay.
All right. It's making me weep. Quiet days, no sleep, silent nights, can't breathe, a fixation on speech, peace, far from me. God, don't let this be. I mean, how could this be? He was just a little younger than me. Phone call saying John Doe wasn't going to pull through surgery. 14 shots ricocheted through him, 911 called an emergency. Baltimore medics on the scene, his life was urgency. Bullets landed in places, his body misplaced that he hit all 4 bases like a home run. Touchdown, feet never meeting ground, and by the time the robbers looked around, his body was nowhere to be found. They caught him slipping, gripping that pointer finger on the trigger like, you know what time it is. This is a robbery. They didn't think he lived to see, lived to breathe, lived to be. I couldn't believe that someone wanted to see my little brother taken away from me. Family meeting, quoting love like it was regurgitated currency, apparently a drug deal turned bad. Detectives assumed that this was another fad. No thought as to whether he was a father or a great dad. A husband, a brother, a son, a friend. They presumed that his life's end meant one less black boy they'd have to apprehend. Surgeons and chaplains gathering. Doctors and nurses scattering, family is chatting as I try to understand why this mother stood over her son, exuding so much patience. She was an inspiration in this situation, where without hesitation, displaying no frustration and making no room to become complacent, she was the epitome of determination, exercising faith and extending expectations. And so when they came out and said that there was no way he'd make it, she wouldn't partake in low handling of faith, she prayed that death wouldn't be his fate. His family line wouldn't break, as they insisted they'd have to take vital organs, his life's fortune. See, we were so fortunate to see him breathe again, feel him live again, and hear his voice again, as again the emotions trampling me as the next surgeon suggests that his educated guest suggests that he may not pull through. But listen closely, because there may be something in this message for you. That was 4 years ago. After several surgeries, though, see, he pulled through. As a living, breathing, walking miracle before you. They said he'd never walk again. And they insisted that he'd never talk again, and that his memory wouldn't recognize his own friends. But he blended what the intended to share, mending what man said couldn't be repaired. The ultimate moment of love and care, his life was spared. So I take this moment to share, because maybe in the audience is there someone who thinks like me, and someone who prays today, believing that even the most deceiving and disbelieving situations cannot be. But I just wanted to share with you, because there may be in this message hope for you. Look at his testimony, and I'm telling you, there's no limit to the things that God can do.
Oh my God. Powerful. Oh my goodness. So this is me again, because I'm one that I love words. I love the emotions. I was there while you was reciting.
Wow.
I saw him laying there. I went through his pain. I saw him as he was struggling to maintain how he was trying to hold on. I saw when they said the mother. I saw all of that.
Yeah.
It's deep and it's powerful. I'm sitting here almost speechless because of how God works with us. And you know what I mean?
Oh man, I'm telling you, like I think about this was a crushing time, for my family, for myself, and March. Although it's Women's History Month, and whoop whoop women. It's also really like tough month for me, tough month for my family. Just and this is where I've been, for the past several days. Like I wrote this poem about my little brother, who at the time we were celebrating the fact that he was still around. He's still alive. Doctors definitely said he was done. Like when we arrived at the hospital, he was DOA. But we got there on our knees in prayer. God saw different, And then we had 7 years with him. And then at 30 years old, 5 years ago, he just dropped dead. And I'm telling you, that's why I stopped doing poetry. Because I couldn't find myself. It was like, I could write it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like to share it. Nah, that was a whole different thing. There was so much pain bottled up, so much grief, and it's crazy because so often we talk about what grief is supposed to look like, or how someone should grieve, and it's like there's really no limit on how long you grieve the loss of someone, or grieve something, or there's just really no limit on how long you grieve or what grief is supposed to look like. And so I also I talk about my mama in there. Like my mama, what? My mama is that, okay? So like just we in a hospital, and I remember just feeling like man, I don't have anything left. And the way I fall with my brothers, because I have I have, with my mom, I have 5 brothers, and then I'm the only girl. And so 2 of them are older than me, and then 3 were younger than me. And so this was my younger brother, and they were my babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, my family, the way we came up, like, family was everything. It was something my parents instilled in us from a young age. I'm telling you, like, my dad beat us. He ain't spanked us. Okay. It's the difference between beat and spank. But that didn't make him less of a great dad. My dad beat us, and when he beat us spelling our last name, reminding us Johnsson. We stick together. You know what I'm saying? So, like, my little brothers from little boys were my babies. And when he left, like, there really was no explanation. You know, when he died, we thought that one of the bullets traveled because he still had several bullets enlarged. And he was shot 14 times. They weren't able to remove all of the bullets. And that wasn't the case. His cause of death was unknown. So it was like carrying that weight around. And it was like, he's just 30, you know, married. He has kids, just had a new baby. Man, it really just shifted the dynamic of our family and what family looked like. Now, you know, we're still tight as thieves, but it's like there's a vital part of us missing. And so we just had to learn to kind of still like flow and operate, knowing that he's not here with us physically, but he's spiritually always with us. But yeah, my mama was there in the hospital. She was a tough cookie. I never saw her shed a tear. She was there. She was there, you know, washing him in prayer. She was there covering him in prayer, you know, changing him in prayer. And then when he passed away, same thing, you know, I literally laid right beside my little brother. And my mom was just so cool. I felt like there was a part of me that I left on that floor, you know, when I got up from beside him. But my mom was just so cool. And I'm telling you, like, my mama is, you know, you hear a lot of people, I feel like I meet a lot of people who have struggles with their mother, a lot of women, and I don't know what that's like, you know. My mom is my best friend, you know. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful, you know, for the mother that God has graced me with. And so I take that, I take pride in that, and I take that to heart. So even, you know, with raising my kids. So when I hear my 16-year-old son, he's talking to some of his friends, and he's like, man, my mother job cool. Like, that's my best friend for real. And when I heard that, I'm like, whoa. Like, that's a big deal. But when my 9-year-old, she calls me on video calls with her little girlfriends, and I'm cool enough to get in the group chat, and she's like, yeah, my mama this and my mama that, and I'm like, get off the phone, and I'm like, Journey, that's what you think about me? And she's like, Ma, you real cool. So I take pride in that, you know, in how they view me, how they receive me, because I know how I view my mom, how I receive my mama. Like, that's like heaven here on earth, that relationship, having that relationship with my mama. So.
You, I mean, what you're expressing, I'm sitting here a little envy. I don't want to say jealous. Jealous and envy they're not too far from each other, but I'm sitting here a little envious of the passion and the love, because I have children, and I always try to instill in them to stay close. I always wanted them to see me as a good father. I didn't have a good upbringing with my dad, but I'm not gonna get into my life. I just know, sitting here listening to you and hearing the love, I would love to meet your mom. Your mom sounds like a woman of history. Your mom sounds like a woman that's stood for something, fell for nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I really can see by just this short period sitting with you that you are like a seed that fell from a tree. So kudos to your mother. I'm just sitting here so honored. I'm kind of speechless because I have my emotions moving around for several reasons. Just not to take us to a different level. You see what happened with Will Smith.
Oh man.
I
said, watch me get into it. No, we're not gonna get into it. Nah, yeah. My thoughts on that. I hold a dual master's in mental health counseling and forensics counseling. So extremely passionate about mental health. That is, it's not my first love, but it's definitely up there.
Okay.
And I feel like with that whole situation, everybody looks at the drama of it. Like, oh man, Will smacked him. Oh, he went off. The antics with, the hand or the jacket, the walk off. Some people are like, oh, it was staged. That wasn't real. But I'm like, look at that man's, his mindset, where his mind had to be at for him to walk up on stage on national television and put his hands on another man.
Come on, talk
and
to
it's
me.
like, what about his overall mental wellness? Where was he at mentally there? When you think about what's been going on in the media with Will Smith as of lately, that man has been publicly emasculated. You know what I'm saying? Like by his wife, by his fans. People are discrediting him. And for the most part, Will's a great actor, and he's come a long way. I feel like he went for many years like under the radar where people were just like, he's a great actor. Or did you see the new Will Smith movie? And now they're like, did you hear what Jada had to say about Will? Like, he's been publicly emasculated. And for him to go up on on national television in front of gobs of people and to make an attempt to emasculate another man, another black man at that, where is he at for real? Like mentally, where was his mind that allowed him to snap or to express? Who knows like what's really going on with him? We know what we hear about in the media, but what's really happening with that man? And I'm like, before we start, judging what he did or making jokes or making fun, maybe we need to hit our knees and go into prayer before that man leaves it. She don't know where he is.
Yeah. Actually, my wife said something similar to what you said. I didn't agree with what he did.
Right, absolutely not.
Because we've come too far as black men for us to publicly put it or show aggression publicly to each other.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Not to mention the fact that this is the Oscars, which is a show that is, that platform is not known to accurately represent people that look like us.
Right.
So, for him to do that
on that platform, I'm with you. See, this is why I like talking to individuals who speak truth. One, where's his mental status right now for him to go through that? I didn't agree with what he did.
Right.
If I was to talk to Will today, I would have said, Will, you should have not done that. You should have waited and talked to him later and let him know you didn't appreciate what he did. But it wasn't about that. It was way past that.
Absolutely.
What happened, he exploded in a situation that was bound to be at an ice cream parlor, at the cookie stand. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just happened to be at the Oscar. And it happened to be in a situation where he needs some help.
Mm-hmm.
He needs some help.
Yeah,
that was a cry out to the world that, I'm like borderline getting ready to jump
to
off
lose
the edge,
it.
to lose it. Because obviously he lost it for that moment when he got up and walked up on that stage and smacked another black man in front of the world.
And then not to apologize to that black man.
And not
but
to
you apologize to the Oscar staff.
Come
I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So we ain't gonna let Will steal this moment here. I just
need
wanted
to get that
yeah,
in.
you know what? Because I just wanted to hear your perspective. Because when people do something that affect all of us, we got to speak our piece too.
Right.
And I'm speaking mine. Will, you messed up, bro. You need to get some help. You need to find that place where you can go and you can release that energy and get somebody to help you, because what you did was wrong. And I'm not saying that Chris was right or wrong.
Oh no,
because he
wasn't out of place. He was out of pocket.
Yeah, for you to be joning on a man's wife, bruh, let me tell you something. In the street, get you shot. You feel me?
Oh, absolutely.
So, we got to look at the all around. Let's get back on you. I want you to tell me, as a young woman, and going into the future, what is it that you would tell a woman younger than you to prepare herself for, to be a powerful woman like the woman's before you?
Man, I think one of the most important things that I've learned is that before you even get going, have a vision. Have a vision for yourself, for your life, for what it is that you want, and write it down. What does an ideal life for you look like? And what is your vision? What is your mission in life? I feel like I didn't do that as a teenager. It wasn't something I did as a young adult, and I feel like as a result of it, I went this way and I went that way. When I think about majors in school and okay, I have a degree in this and I have a degree in that. Well, I went back to school and I have a degree in this. But then when I realized and recognized, okay, that there is a general purpose for your life. This is what it looks like. Having a vision, having a mission, and not being afraid to set boundaries, so that when there are things that come up that do not fit within the scope of what it is you envision for yourself, for your life, or your purpose, your mission, saying no. Simply just, no, that doesn't work for what it is I believe or who I am. I think it's important to set boundaries and be okay with setting those boundaries and not settling. That's a big thing. And then I think lastly, I would say, don't be afraid to dream. Don't be afraid to, imagine.
When your birthday?
July. I'm a Leo.
Yeah, Leo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Cut.
Okay. Man. You're an amazing woman.
Thank you.
I've been blessed to be around many. If I could speak on some of the women who made some difference in my life, my grandmother, who is phenomenal, my mother. Actually, this is funny. We talk about women history. We talk about mental health. I have an older sister, is schizophrenic.
Wow.
She's on medication. I love her out of this world. And it's just phenomenal when I think about women and what they've done and how they've helped people throughout their lives, what my sister done for me. My sister, when she was young, she was so beautiful and still is. But if you was to see her, you'd be looking at her like, what's wrong with her, But God is good because she's a woman who has made the history in my life. And I continue to move forward. And then for my wife, and then other women who I've been around. But My wife just told me to look back at my notes again over here. So.
Yeah, cause she the bomb.
Yeah. She, you know what? So you know, but I think. So you was born out of 14.
Oh yeah, my is 14 total. My brothers and sisters, and I was the 11th one. Parents got to me, and my dad decided to name me Delass. It's gonna be the last one.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, so when my parents tell me the story, it's funny. My mom is
got
always like, Walla told me he couldn't have no more children. She gonna get me for talking like that though. But that was what she said. She was always like, you know, they were done, like no kids. And then Delass comes. But then after Delass comes Deshaun, and then Samuel and Daniel. And it's like, okay, why they have regular names and you name me Delass? So I definitely wasn't Delass, and it is a whole heap of us.
Well, let me also say this for both of us, because my guest coughed and I coughed too. Let me tell you something. We ain't got COVID. I'm telling you, these allergies is
oh my gosh,
yeah,
man.
You know,
and that postnasal drip.
Oh,
I'm like, I walked through the door. What did I tell you? I was like, I'm gonna apologize now. All this congestion.
Yeah, but I'm going through it as well. And it's so funny now, people, when you cough or sneeze, everybody looking at you like,
oh man,
come on. But we gotta keep it real. That's one of the things that I like to do. I was just told that we're gonna go a little over.
Okay, all right, cool.
Okay, so that's good. And she just pointed back. Okay, so let me see. So you have worked with some officials.
Yeah, I am currently. So in Baltimore, when I was still in Baltimore, because born and raised in Baltimore. So when I was still in Baltimore, I had a nonprofit where I ran an after-school program that used the arts, the creative arts, to address mental wellness, address mental health with high school students. It was the best thing I could have done. While I was there, while I was in Baltimore. It was phenomenal. I enjoyed it. But when I moved to York, and I had no idea of how to, reconnect with the school system, how to connect with the community and what was going on. And so I want to say for the first year, I kind of just had meetings with, different community leaders and visited different churches and talked to some of the other ministers that were in the local area. And God kind of opened doors. And as God opened doors, that allowed me to kind of to serve in different platforms and in different arenas. And I'm grateful. I am so grateful for the arenas that I serve in. And there's always the notion that if I just plant a seed, I don't necessarily have to be the driving force to change anyone, but if I just plant a seed.
I like that you said that because sometimes I try to identify what do I do and what is my reason. And it says her life mission is to be a vessel. And it's like that. Let me tell you a little short something. I got a vision from God that God said, Rodney, you have to build this ark.
Oh, wow. Okay?
And this was not long ago. He said, you have to build this ark. And this was a conversation me and God was having, like I'm sitting here with you. And I didn't understand what he was talking about. I thought I was going to have to build this big boat. I'm like, come on, what is this? But then when I said that, he said, pay attention. And then he showed me the vision. And the arc is me to start to establish myself with those like you, like-minded people, to put myself in an arena where we're going to be able to start to be the vessels for others to come and be able to understand, to have our spiritual growth. Absolutely. To be able to know how to treat each other. Right. That I know that you are a queen. And if I want to be treated as a king, then we have to exchange these things to move forward for understanding for the young that followers will be able to see.
Right.
We set this platform And in this ark, all of us will be looking at each other. And every time I speak about it, I can see it in my head.
Wow.
That it's another black man behind me that's picking me up and pushing me and holding me, telling me, keep going.
Keep going.
And I bring and I grab over and I grab the young brother, but he grabs the young lady, and the young lady grabs her mother, and we grab the grandmother, and we grab the neighbors, and we keep moving. And what happens, all of us are standing here, and we are now in a position where God is saying, y'all are finally getting it. I gotta,
wow.
You know what I mean? And I know that this is a process. The vessel, you,
Yeah.
the vessel, me, the vessel, we, that we use together to move forward, because there's a mission. And during that process is, my wife wrote some of these notes, so I'm being obedient to the wife. She said, ask, what really is your mission? What is it? What is your mission? Is it to save?
Oh no, that Jesus does that.
Okay, come on.
That is not my job.
What's your mission?
Like I just said, like if I am just planting a seed, I remember I was in undergrad, and I remember my home church pastor pulling me in his office at that time and asking me, what is it that, what is it that makes you tick? Like, what is it? And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like when I leave here, when God calls me home, I want to hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. And I'm like, so whatever that looks like, I ask God, to allow me to be, you remember Gumby?
Yeah,
That little play to it? Yeah. I'm like, God, let me be your Gumby. Like, move me, flex me, use me how you need me, how you need me to be moved.
Yeah.
Like, let me be a vessel that you use, whatever that looks like. So sometimes that may look like, me walking into a place and shaking things up and stirring things up. The other thing is, so I'm at a church that, is a historical church. It was a part of the Civil Rights Movement, the Underground Railroad. There are the church hold pivotal points and pivotal moments in history, right? I'm the first African American to serve in this church in leadership, as a leadership role. So you can't even imagine some of the fire, that I entail and that I go through while I'm in that church. And it's funny because one of the members shared the post for today that I would be on your podcast. And he has a podcast at the church, and he's interviewed me several times. And he goes, I know it's going to be great because you were great every time that you interviewed with me. But this is somebody who has pulled me to the side and said to me, like, I knew when you came here that God called you here. There's nothing else that brought you here. God called you here, and he was throwing you into the fire. Now this is what some man says to me who doesn't know me from Adam or Eve. But God had already revealed that to me when I walked through the door. I knew that it was not going to be peaches and cream. I knew that I wasn't going to, walk into that space and not have any issues. But sometimes that's what it looks like. But if I allow myself to be caught up in, this person doesn't really care for me. That person said they're leaving because they don't want a black person teaching their child. Like, if I get caught up in that, I'll miss out on what it is God is really doing.
Come on.
And so it's like, I want to be a vessel that God uses, however that looks, to bring to light so that some people can see, somebody can see, their true purpose. Like, God, okay, God really loves me. I can't tell you how many people I meet who say things like, you believe what the Bible says? That was written by a man. Yeah, I mean, so you believe that one being created all things? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, how can you not? When you think about the beauty of God and the grace of God, like, how can you not know this? How can you not see this? How can you not want to feel this? Man, don't get me started.
Let me tell you something. You just hit on a note that many times that I used to try to figure out. But one day I was walking down the street, and this white gentleman walked up to me. He was just in some regular old clothes. And there was a lot of people on the street. And this is why I know God is real, for more than this reason. And the man walked up to me and said, do you believe in Jesus Christ? And I said, yes. He said, how do you know I'm not him? And I looked at him. And then he said, I want to give you a message. Never judge any man just from your vision.
Mm-hmm. Your perception of it, right?
He said, because some people may want to praise God through the moon, the sun, through the trees. Just know that you work on your relationship with them.
However that looks, because it's going to look different to every one of us.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
He walked away. And as I think about that today, I don't know which way he went. But it bestowed a thought in my head that would never go away. And so when you were speaking about that and you was talking about some of the things, you being a woman of God, I just think about how many people have said those questions about believing in the Bible and things of that nature as well. I question quite a bit of things in the Bible, but then when I pray over it, God showed me the very next day. I'll be riding down the street and here ask the question that I asked by a sign or a person to walk up and say something. I know that that's not by coincidence.
Same, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
It was some things going on that I won't repeat, but just in the last couple of days, I was saying, oh, Father God, I just trust and believe that you got me. And I'm trying to tell you, how he just surprises me. And he shows me how it really is. But with all that said, I just want to commend you. I'm going to tell you, I'm sitting here so proud of you. I'm sitting here, each one of the ladies that I've talked to, I have gotten something from you. I don't want to get emotional, but I got to share something. And I don't know if this is the right time or not, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's Women's Month. And my relationship with my daughter is not good. And I miss her really bad. And she hurt me. She hurt me. But I miss my baby. And when I think about the women that are in this world and what y'all have done for the men, I feel somehow I have to forgive. I have to forgive her. And I constantly pray for her right now.
Mm.
But I said all that to say that I look at each woman that's been around me, and when I see a woman of your caliber, your dad must be a proud
Oh
father.
man, my daddy the bomb too.
That I'm sure. You know what? I mean, I only again use the word envy because I've tried to be the bomb. I've tried to do that.
Listen, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. I'm telling you, my father's by far perfect. He's not perfect, but looking past his imperfections and seeing his heart and knowing that he's always had a heart for his children. He's always had nothing but love for us in spite of, because we're not perfect, you know?
Right.
But being able to look past the imperfections and seeing the heart of an individual is what allow you to feel like somebody is the bomb, knowing that, you know, they may have missed the graduation, they may have, you know, missed an important event, or they may not have shown up for this. But that doesn't make them less than. That doesn't make them less of, you know, the bomb.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, your dad should be very, very proud. Again, it's just so much. I'm sitting here. I see my wife over there writing something, and I'm getting ready to read it and see what it is. What you got over there, Lady Z? What you got? She give me. Oh, okay. Because I keep it real. I don't be trying to fabricate nothing. Ladies and gentlemen that joined in, I have Delass. I said that correctly.
That's right.
I got Delass sitting here with me. Beautiful, beautiful queen. I mean, I'm sitting here like, I feel like I'm at a gas station and she's just filling me up with fuel over here.
Oh wow.
And I'm so proud of you. This is not me trying to portray anything. Each one you have taught me something. Even with these ladies that's in this room, I'm on a journey, and I've been trying to figure it out. And every time one of y'all sit in here lately, I've started to realize that I gotta keep it real. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know how we normally do in the program. I like to keep it real. So everybody just see the people with Rodney Grimes, don't be judgmental on the process of where we're going, because I'm also being obedient and I'm following my journey too. God told me to do this. I don't make a dime doing this. Okay, I sacrifice so much, and then when some things don't go right for me, I start to feel it in my gut and start saying, oh, here we go again. But then you have said so much to let me know that it's okay.
Yeah, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So you know that the things that are happening and taking place, we're spiritual beings. And so the spirits that are constantly flowing, they're not going to always be positive. They're not going to always be for your good. You're going to have some spirits that are tussling up against you that want to see you not do well, want to see you fall off the track. So yeah, making sure that you always, you keep in the forefront what it is that you know that God has said to you.
Mm-hmm.
Your vision, your mission, what it is you're working towards. And just keep pushing towards that.
Yes. Oh, man. Are you planning on writing another book?
I am. It's funny that you asked that, because I was supposed to say that, when I was sharing about this. I am currently writing a book of prayers and a devotional. And I hope to have that out at July 1. Have both of them finished July 1.
I'm going to say this also as well, because the other young lady that was here prior to you, her and I, we started getting deep. We started getting deep at the end of the discussion. And I told her she better make sure she come back, because me and her got some
unfinished conversation happening.
We got some unfinished conversation. But guess what?
That was Lee. She always starting trouble.
Yeah, I love her. But you know
That's
what? We got some unfinished business too. Knowing how you traveled, first of all, thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't like to camouflage. I'm just a little embarrassed because all the equipment didn't work like for some reason. I mean, literally, we just...
No, we still got it up and going. Not
but,
even giving... No.
No, but at the same time, it's just so many things right now I'm trying to figure out. And I know it must be a serious breakthrough coming through, because it's been here as I'm moving forward, different things that happen. But I'm going to tell you this. It's by design that you are who you are. It's by design that you had those beautiful children, had a beautiful mom, and that alright dad that you smile when you mention his name.
Yeah.
Your brother, he lives in you.
Oh, absolutely. Every single day. Yeah.
And see, you know that. And in the process of your energy, whatever you do, keep being the queen that you are. Because there's so many queens that's coming up behind you. Not just your daughter.
Right.
But I'm talking about many of us going to mimic you. And you are a blessing. You are the truth of what I see. Even with my wife, sometimes I have to look at it and I say, man, God, you're amazing. When I see some of the things that y'all bring to the table. I saw that when you walked through the door up there. And now I even see it even more. I don't know how I'm going to convince you to come back, but...
oh, you don't need to convince. Just invite.
Okay.
Just, send an invitation.
Yeah. I'm actually...
the drive wasn't bad. It's long, but it wasn't bad.
But what I want to do is I'm going to do a special on the weekend, because I want when you come, then I'm going to really be able to treat you well.
All right.
And hopefully I can get all y'all at the same time.
Oh, man, that'd be dope.
I know, because that's going to be on fire. That's going to be on fire. So with everybody that's joined in, this is People to People with Rodney Grimes, Delass. That's her name, Delass. And I can say it now because I really understand when I was thinking when she mentioned her dad is my guest today. And you have the final word for the guest.
Oh, wow. What would I say to the guest? I'd just say, be who you are, your true, authentic self. Love your true, authentic self. And do not apologize for your true, authentic self.
Come on in. That's real talk. Thank you for joining in. It's People to People, Power to Power, Positive Thinking People. Guess what? Y'all are with People to People, with Rodney Grimes. Don't you go nowhere, because I got to cut my music on, because I want to go out with my music playing and stuff. And I got to do that manually over here and make it work. And the last, I just want you to know that you are an amazing woman.
To God be the glory. Appreciate it.
That's for sure. and this thing is gonna cut on and start playing.
It is.
Yeah. and what's gonna happen? I'm gonna find out why my equipment started giving me a little problem today. And tell the devil, you're gonna be gone. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Hey, y'all make sure y'all tune in. Remember, it's People to People with Rodney Grimes. I love you. Always keep God first in your life.
Real talk live
And
with Rodney Grimes.
tune in with us.
People to people,
And thank
power to
Delass
power,
for coming in.
positive
Thank you.
people. Yes, with Sir Rod and Lady Z.
YouTube.
It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about
And
me.
Christy said,
And God we
don't
trust.
forget to go to YouTube and subscribe. For sure.
Positive thinking people.